Hello everybody. This is a bit of a different video from what I've been uploading onto this channel. And that's because this is about Gran Blue and not Under Night. I managed to play the beta of Gran Blue Fantasy vs. Rising over the weekend, and I really enjoyed my time with it, especially because Gran Blue is another game that I really enjoy playing besides Under Night. And there's a lot of good things that the Gran Blue team did, so I really want to talk about it. As a preface, I didn't play against a variety of players. I only played against my friends, and they didn't actively grind Gran Blue as much as I did. So I don't really have a good grasp of the meta or balance or anything like that, but I was still able to get a good amount of insight during my time. So I just want to talk about my timeline with it, the lobby, the netcode, the system mechanics, and then just the characters that I tried. So first with my timeline. I was gonna completely draw out Gran Blue if I'm gonna be completely honest. The beta one it was very atrocious. Strike throw just was not a thing because of how reactable it is. There's no point to doing technical input. Raging Strike is just a race to 50 meter to unblockable your opponent. Ultimate skills was just super whack. You couldn't really get knockdowns, and there's just so many issues that I had that I couldn't really see myself playing the game at all. But then Beta 2 came out, and they released some videos and some threads on social media about the changes that they made, and I was really excited. And plus, they had a beta for PC, which is I'm really surprised, because most fighting games don't make their betas for PC. So I'm just glad that they were able to do that. So next, let's talk about the netcode quick. I'm not an expert on the netcode and how it all works, but it felt very satisfying. I was playing in at least 100 ping, sometimes upwards to 160 ping, and outside of a couple jump scares, it was extremely playable. Especially since I've played games that had pretty questionable netcode, delay-based and rollback. I was a little bit afraid of how Gran Blue would take it, but it's really solid, so it's a game I can see myself playing, and it's a game I can see a lot of other people just hopping on more often, instead of just hopping on only on lobby night, and that's if they feel like it. But speaking of lobbies, I did not like it. The lobbies were stuck at 30 frames per second, and that felt really awful because the gameplay's in 60, and the menus felt like really crisp and smooth, but then you get into lobby and it just felt super sluggish. It just didn't feel good. Like, your character moved like really slow, and then there's all these weird like trampolines, and they're just cabinets to like at the top of the island, even though like no one's gonna go there. So it just didn't really seem like amazing. I just want lobbies to be simple, but they wanted to go all out with this, and it just felt pretty bad because of that. But at least like when I tried to go online, there was plenty of lobbies that were either filled or being close to filled, so I'm just glad that Gran Blue is getting the spotlight and lost during COVID. One thing that I do hope that they fix is that there's a UI glitch, because when you're navigating the menus, I think it was mostly in the online lobbies, but if you hit down to go to the next item in the menu, the game would just glitch out and just not go down there at all, even though visually it would show that you moved your cursor over there. I'm pretty sure they're gonna fix this, but that was a issue I had that kind of bothered me. And also rematching felt really weird. Some of my friends experienced the glitch where they weren't able to just hit rematch. It didn't happen to me, but it did happen to more people than I would like. So I hope they fix that. They probably will. That's not really an issue. It's obviously a beta, so I can't really fault them that much for it. And now the gameplay. Oh, the gameplay. I love it. I like I said earlier, I had a lot of concerns with Beta 1, but after seeing the changes that they were proposing for Beta 2 and actually experiencing it, I really loved it. So I love the dash attacks. Although 6XL or Dash L I think is a bit of a problem. I don't think it's like so problematic like everyone else is making it out to be. It's not Drive Rush. I don't know how anyone can make that comparison. But it's a little bit problematic because it stuffs people's buttons in neutral. It's easy to hit confirm. and it's just I'm not really a fan of it being like super oppressive, but I think with how Gran Blue works, I think if they just tone it down a little bit, I think it'll be just fine. I think people are just overblowing its uses. I mean, people did blow up Soul Spar Slash on Strive's release, so I mean, I guess I get it, but it's not that it's not super oppressive. I think it just needs to be toned down. On Dash M's, I think they're pretty interesting because they have some good utility. Well, at least the characters I played, their Dash M's were lows, so you can quickly just check people walking in neutral. Whereas before you had to do like a run-up sweep, which is a little bit risky. So I like it. And for the Dash H's, for some of them they felt like kind of eh. I mean, they're combo tools, some of them were safe, some were unsafe. But some of them were absolutely ridiculous. Most notably Zooey's. I can't believe she just armors through things and just gets a combo from it. Sure, it's unsafe, but it's like it's giving me Wagner type beats. And it's just like, oh my god, this character is just what? But overall, I really love the dash attacks. I think they might need some fine tuning, but that's about it. For ultimate skills, oh my god, I can't believe they did it. I don't know why you couldn't cancel into them, and I don't know why they just restricted your combos. So that just meant that they were incredibly niche for some characters and completely useless for others, because you're spending meter to do maybe slightly more damage. Maybe. It's just, I'm just glad that they made it cancelable into. So because of that, the knockdown situation, the knockdown issue that we had in Beta 1 is kind of fixed. Not entirely fixed, but it helped alleviate the issue. Because now it caused a hard knockdown that you can combo into. So you can either choose to get more damage, or you can choose to get a hard knockdown and get a safe jump or much better pressure, which I really like. And I'm glad that, at least for all the characters I chose, all their ultimate skills had the choice between strong neutral, comboable, or just a hard knockdown. And it just opened up the door for lots of resource management, a lot of decision making, and neutral just feels more dynamic because of all that. Because if you had resources to convert it to a combo, you might have to you might need to play more safe, or you could try to challenge with your own ultimate skills, or you can try to understand your opponent's habits when they have these resources. So it felt all dynamic, it felt amazing, it felt really good to use. Like it felt like all the ultimate skills for the characters that I tried out, they all had a use. Except for one character, but I'll talk about that later. So as for a triple attack, I'm gonna be honest, because I wasn't listening to command list, I completely forgot about it. And it wasn't until my friend just bonked me in the head like 8 times in a row with the overhead version that I realized, like, wait a second, that's a triple attacks are a thing. So I'm not really sure how good triple attacks will be. I know Fairy can combo off of them, but like again, I didn't play with them, so I don't really know how useful they'll be. From what I briefly tried, you couldn't special cancel, so yeah, I don't know. And a controversial topic, Raging Strike. It was incredibly powerful in Beta 1, but now in Beta 2, initially I thought like, it's so reactable, like on paper. In training mode, it's incredibly slow. It's like you can mash out of it. So I'm not really sure how I'm supposed to use this in pressure, but they gave it some other uses that I think is really good. So instead of costing meter, it now costs bravery point, and if you hit your opponent with it, it takes 1 away from them. When this happens, they have, because of how reactable it is, they have plenty of time to use their own counter to it. But you'll notice that when they do this, you only lost 1 bravery point, and they lost 2. So the next time you do a Raging Strike, they would have lost all of their bravery points, so they can't do a bravery counter. And then if you have meter of yourself, you can just convert into a combo and just blow them up, because of how much extra damage you take if you only have 1 or 0 bravery points. So I think it's pretty interesting. I didn't get to play with it too much with that aspect, but I think it's still going to be a strong pressure tool that you have to respect. On top of that though, it's actually a good combo tool, especially because your supers give you a bravery point back. It's just another way to just cash out on a little bit of damage, or just the meter dumps, or to just give you more mid-screen follow-ups. I really like how good of a combo tool it is. It's just another resource to manage. I'm glad that they reworked Raging Strike in that regard, instead of just raise to 50 meter, unblockable, check your opponent. And just a real talk about meter building, it felt like meter building was pretty sufficient. It didn't feel like if I used an ultimate skill, I basically didn't build enough for a super. So I felt good. I was a little bit concerned that it would build too much meter, so people could just spam ultimate skills, but it didn't really feel like that. So I'm glad with how the meter is. Now the characters. So the first character I tried out, Katalina, my Gran Blue Fantasy Versus main. I'm pretty disappointed, I'm gonna be completely honest. Her ultimate skills, they have additional utility, but it just feels like they moved some of the strengths from her EX moves onto her ultimate skill, so it didn't really feel like she got anything new. She has a really good ultimate fireball, the ultimate version of her fireball, but you can't really combo it from like a little bit farther than mid-screen. It's still very fantastic, don't get me wrong. I think it's basically one of her best ones, but other than that, it just felt really lackluster. On top of that, her corner combos, they feel even more dry than before. I could be wrong on this, but I had a lot of time. I had a hard time trying to find DP juggles from before. On certain characters, you could go for a DP juggle, and it was pretty cool. But this one, you either had to get a counter hit on specific moves, or you had to spend a resource, so you couldn't spend a super to obliterate your opponent. At least from what I could find. And from the ones I did find, they didn't really feel that optimal. It just felt like you should just go for something like just easier, less sauceless. It didn't feel good. On top of that, there are tools that she had in neutral and pressure that she also lost. Her 2M or her 4M no longer connects into her 5U, unless it's with counter hit. She no longer has a safe jab off her L thrust. She no longer has a safe jab off her 214L, which is something that I found, and it was really strong, and I really loved using it, especially when I got an auto combo into it. That's where you can get the safe jab, but that's gone. And it just doesn't feel great. And it's most likely a skill issue, and Katalina is most likely fine, but when I tried other characters, I just felt so much more limited when I played Katalina as opposed to them. Again, probably skill issue, but I just did not enjoy Katalina as much. It just didn't feel like she got nearly as many tools or good things as all the other characters. Katalina felt meh, so I decided to try the other shouters because that's the character archetype I like, and that's the archetype that Katalina's in. So with Gran, it was the character I played before I switched to Katalina in Gran Blue, and I was just surprised at the combo opportunities he had. If you got an anti-air 2H, he can get into 5U, and he can still combo off of that, which I don't believe he had that in the previous version. So that was cool. If you did the ultimate boot, you got a mid-screen follow-up, but obviously because you spent resources, you can't end the super into a hard knockdown, or you have to use your remaining 50 meter for a hard knockdown, but at least he had the opportunity to do that off the hit confirm mid-screen, so I really like that. And his new super looks really cool, but there's a bit of an issue, right? So the new super is just a follow-up from his regular Skybound art, and it deals extra damage. But the problem is you can only use this when you have 30 HP, 30% HP, like a super Skybound art. And when you compare the damage, it's like 15 damage less than the regular Super Skybound art if you use it at its base minimum damage. And it didn't seem like Stinger and the Super Skybound art had like very like noticeable changes in combo routing. So I'm just a bit confused on if it's worth going for the new super, because you're doing slightly less damage and you can only do it when you're in a Super Skybound art range anyways. So, but I mean, at least I appreciate that he has new animation and it looks cool. So that's what I really liked about Gran. So, and besides that, everything mostly felt unchanged. So he's one of the characters I would like to main. And then the next one, Belial. Oh my god, I have never felt so carried in my life after playing him. I don't think he changed that much from Gran Blue to Gran Blue Rising, but everything just felt so free on him. And the system mechanics just only benefited him even more, with Dash L being great, Dash H being a screw it, I'm just going in, and then his fireballs, his ultimate skills, it all felt like amazing. So it felt like he really jives well with the system mechanics. So while he himself didn't really change that much, he just got much stronger, it felt. Although his defense seemed a little bit weaker because universally LDPs aren't invul anymore, and Belial's MDP isn't invul, it's just a way for him to be plus, or a way to bait someone for thinking he's gonna DP and then he can just start his turn. So it might be a little bit weaker, but I don't think it's that significant. It's just like a small change that might hurt him in some matchups, but overall he just felt really amazing. And I think he's the highest contender for me to main. And then the other Shoto, well, quote unquote Shoto, I kind of call it, is Siegfried. He's not exactly Shoto, but he has a fireball, he has a DP, he has a forward advancing move, so... Oh my god, this is another character that I never felt so carried on before. It is so amazing. I didn't expect to like him all that much. He just has amazing space control and amazing whiff punish tools, and on top of that he has amazing damage, so you press the wrong button and you're just blowing up for it. And he has a lot of RPS with his 2-2, and there's like a lot of spots where I got combos that I didn't really expect to get. Like if I got a counter hit off his L follow up on his 2-2, I was able to get a double LDP. So I was surprised. So that's just one of the examples, and it just feels like he broke the traditional rules of Gran Blue, because most fireballs in Gran Blue you can roll through, but for Siegfried you can't. And if you try to roll through his slower fireball, his M fireball, you actually got knocked back. So it's you have to like spot dodge a lot, but then Siegfried has a lot of ways to mix up his timing to blow up your spot dodge, and he felt super strong. I really love his 5H, or sorry, his 4H. I really love his 2-4, and there's just I thought he would be much more of a lumbering tank, but his frame data seems pretty solid. And obviously he can abuse Dash L like everybody else, so he just felt really good. I think he might struggle against some zoners and people with a good footsies button, and I think Katalina is probably a pretty difficult matchup for him, but I think he's a really solid character. He's really fun. He might be a character I main, or at least secondary, but regardless, he was really good. 10 out of 10 character for me. And then the final character that I tried a lot of is Zooey. I saw that how they updated her toolkit on Twitter. It looked really sick, and then her dust loops are so fun to do. But I don't think Zooey's playstyle's for me. It's like she doesn't zone the way I want her to. Not that she's bad at it or anything, but it just isn't for me. And The only thing I really liked about Zooey was her combos, so... Fun character, just not for me. Really good character. And that's about it. That's all I pretty much wanted to talk about with the beta of Gran Blue Fantasy vs. Rising. I really loved it. I loved it so much. I had so much fun playing against my friends, testing out changes, labbing new stuff. And I'm really glad the Gran Blue team listened to many of the complaints that the community had, and the changes they made were really good. I only really had minor complaints, but if they were left unchanged and the game released as is, I'd be fine. I'm excited to play Gran Blue again because of this beta. I'm not sure if my time constraints will allow me to grind it as much, especially because Uni 2 is coming out too, and I love that game the most, so I'm unsure if I would make content for Gran Blue Rising or even play it all that much, but I really enjoyed my time. I'm really glad they made a PC beta. So thank you for if you watched throughout the entire way. More unique content on the horizon. I'm still pretty busy with school and work, so I'm unsure when the next video will be, but thanks for coming along. Have a good one.